Hey there, storytellers and story lovers. This is Saiyan What Ifs. Prepare yourselves for today's incredible narrative. What if Goku was the original legendary Super Saiyan? A quick reminder, your likes, comments, and subscriptions are the fuel that keeps this channel running. Thank you for being awesome. Let's begin this journey together. Chapter 1, The Power Within. The red skies of planet Vegeta blazed overhead as Bardock staggered through the medical facility, blood dripping from his battle-scarred armor. His head pounded with visions he couldn't explain, flashes of a golden-haired warrior, planets exploding, and his infant son standing against impossible odds. "These damn headaches," he muttered, pushing past concerned medical staff. Something's happening. Something big. The Saiyan warrior had never been one for premonitions or superstitions, but these visions had plagued him since his squad's ambush on planet Kanasa. A dying Kanasan warrior had touched his forehead, cursing, or perhaps blessing, him with the ability to see fragments of a terrible future. In the maternity ward, he found his newborn son floating in an isolation pod, monitored by wide-eyed technicians. "What's happening here?" Bardock demanded. A nervous technician jumped at his voice. "Commander Bardock. Your son's power readings, they're fluctuating wildly. We've never seen anything like it." Bardock approached the pod where baby Kakarot floated peacefully, seemingly unaware of the commotion he was causing. The power reading display beside the pod surged and dropped erratically, occasionally spiking to levels that made the technicians exchange worried glances. 10,000, one whispered as the numbers briefly soared. "That's impossible for a newborn." "It can't be right," another said. "The equipment must be malfunctioning." But Bardock knew better. The visions crashed through his mind again, his son surrounded by golden light, eyes turned teal, facing down tyrants and monsters. The legendary transformation that appeared once every 1,000 years. "Have you reported this to King Vegeta?" Bardock asked, his voice low. The lead technician nodded grimly. "The elders have been summoned to examine him. There's talk of, well, you know the old prophecies." Bardock did know. Every Saiyan grew up hearing tales of the legendary Super Saiyan, a warrior of uncontrollable rage and limitless power who appeared once a millennium. A warrior who, according to legend, had nearly destroyed their original home world in a fit of uncontrollable rage. A warrior who could challenge even the gods. A death sentence for any child suspected of carrying such potential. "Leave us," Bardock commanded, and something in his blood-streaked face made the technicians comply without question. Alone with his son, Bardock placed a hand on the warm glass. Kakarot opened his eyes, staring at his father with unusual focus for a newborn. "They'll kill you," Bardock whispered. "But my visions show another path. If you grow up away from here, away from our ways." His voice trailed off as another vision hit him. Frisia's ship hovering above planet Vegeta, a ball of energy expanding to consume everything. The decision crystallized in his mind. Planet Vegeta was doomed. His son might be too, if the king's executioners reached him first. But there was another way, a small chance, but a chance nonetheless. With quick, practiced movements, Bardock disabled the monitoring equipment and opened the pod. The infant didn't cry as most Saiyan babies would. Instead, he regarded his father with curious, calm eyes. "You're different already," Bardock murmured, wrapping the child in standard-issue armor padding. "Maybe that's good." Slipping through back corridors and avoiding the main halls, Bardock made his way to the launch bays where the attack pods were kept. A low-ranking technician stood guard. "Commander Bardock. I wasn't expecting preparation for a standard infiltration mission," Bardock interrupted, moving past him toward the smallest attack pod. "Low-level purge. Planet designation Earth." The technician frowned. "I don't have orders for—" Bardock's fist connected with the young Saiyan's temple before he could finish, dropping him unconscious to the floor. "Sorry, kid. No time to argue." Working quickly, he programmed the attack pod's navigation system for Earth, a backwater planet in a forgotten corner of the galaxy. Soft and full of weaklings, according to scout reports. Perfect for a child who needed to grow strong without becoming cruel. As he placed Kakarot in the pod, the baby reached up and grabbed his finger with surprising strength. Another vision slammed into Bardock's mind, a young man with his wife's gentle eyes and Bardock's unruly hair, standing protectively before a blue planet, power radiating from him in golden waves. Not a destroyer, but a defender. You have a choice, son, Bardock said softly. The legendary power doesn't have to consume you. Find another way. Footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. Time had run out. Bardock pressed his forehead against his son's one last time. Survive. Grow strong. But grow kind. Words no Saiyan warrior would normally speak, but Bardock had seen enough death to recognize its emptiness. He sealed the pod and initiated launch sequence. As the small sphere shot away from planet Vegeta, Bardock felt something like peace despite knowing what must come next. He would face Frieza, die trying to stop what couldn't be stopped. But his son would live. The attack pod carrying baby Kakarot streaked through space, its tiny occupant falling into stasis as it began the long journey to Earth. Inside his developing mind, power surged and receded like tides, waiting to be awakened. The attack pod crashed into a mountain forest with enough force to carve a small crater. Steam hissed from its surface as the hatch popped open automatically, revealing a small Saiyan baby who immediately began wailing at the sudden exposure to bright sunlight and fresh air. An elderly man hiking nearby heard the crash and the cries. Following the sounds, Son Gohan, martial arts master and hermit, peered into the crater to find a most unusual sight, a perfectly intact metal sphere and a very angry baby with what appeared to be a monkey's tail. Well, well. Where did you come from, little fellow? Gohan climbed carefully down the crater's edge. The child's cries grew louder, more insistent. No parents around? That's quite a crash you survived. Gohan reached for the baby, who promptly bit his finger with surprising force. Ouch! Feisty little thing, aren't you? Gohan laughed, undeterred. You've got fighting spirit already. The baby glared up at him, then suddenly his expression changed. He giggled, reaching for Gohan's beard with chubby hands. Mood changes quicker than mountain weather, Gohan observed, carefully lifting the child. I guess you're coming home with me. Can't leave you out here for the wolves. As Gohan carried the baby away from the crash site, he failed to notice how the metal of the pod had been warped not just from impact, but from the inside, tiny handprints pressed outward in the reinforced material, as if the child had been struggling against confinement even before landing. Gohan named the boy Goku, and quickly discovered his new ward was no ordinary child. At barely 6 months old, Goku could already crawl at startling speeds and had an appetite that threatened to empty Gohan's food stores weekly. His strength was alarming, he'd snap wooden toys in his tiny fists and once pushed over a bookshelf that Gohan himself struggled to move. But most concerning were the episodes. The first happened when Goku was barely a year old. Gohan had taken the boy fishing, sitting him on a rock near the riverbank while he waded into the shallows. A large fish jumped nearby, startling the child, who began to cry. What began as normal baby wails quickly intensified. Gohan felt it before he saw it, a pressure in the air that made his ears pop. Turning around, he saw Goku's tiny form surrounded by a faint whitish aura, his cries becoming deeper, almost growl-like. The rock beneath him cracked. Goku! Gohan rushed to the child, splashing through the river. As soon as Gohan touched him, the strange aura vanished and Goku's cries returned to normal. The boy hiccuped and reached for his adoptive grandfather, apparently unaware of what had just happened. Gohan cradled the child, mind racing. In his many years studying martial arts, he'd encountered tales of ki manipulation and energy control, but never in one so young, and never manifesting so wildly. What are you? Gohan whispered, stroking the boy's wild black hair. And what are you going to become? These episodes continued as Goku grew, always triggered by strong emotions, fear, anger, sometimes even intense excitement. Each time, the aura grew more pronounced, and Gohan became more concerned about what might happen if the boy couldn't learn to control whatever power simmered inside him. By age 4, Goku was already accompanying Gohan on training exercises, mimicking the old master's kata with surprising precision. His strength and speed were those of a child 3 times his age, and his appetite had only grown more voracious. "Grandpa, I'm still hungry," Goku complained, having already devoured a fish larger than himself. "You're always hungry," Gohan laughed, tossing him another grilled fish. "Where do you put it all in that little body?" Goku shrugged, biting into the fish with gusto. "I dunno. My tummy just keeps talking to me." Gohan watched the boy eat, concern creasing his weathered features. He'd come to a decision that morning, after witnessing Goku accidentally snap a young tree in half during a tantrum over a dropped dumpling. "Goku," he said carefully, "I think it's time I teach you some special exercises." "Like the punching and kicking?" Goku asked excitedly, fish forgotten for a moment. "Not exactly. These are inside exercises. For controlling what flows within you." Goku tilted his head. "Inside me? Everyone has energy inside them, ki," Gohan explained, holding out his palm. With concentration, he formed a small, glowing orb that hovered above his hand. "See? Most people never learn to use it. But you, Goku, yours is very strong. Too strong, sometimes." Goku stared at the glowing orb, mesmerized. "I can do that too." "You already do, without meaning to. Those times when you get very upset and things break around you. That's your ki flowing out without control." Goku's eyes widened with recognition. "The hot feeling? When everything gets all buzzy and loud in my head?" Gohan nodded. "Exactly. I'm going to teach you how to feel that energy without getting upset, and then how to keep it calm inside you." For weeks afterward, Gohan guided Goku through meditation exercises, teaching the energetic boy to sit still and focus inward, arguably a greater challenge than any physical training for the hyperactive child. But Goku, despite his youth, showed remarkable determination. Perhaps he too had been frightened by the strange power that sometimes overtook him. Progress came in tiny increments. Goku learned to sense his ki, then to direct it in small ways, enhancing jumps, softening falls. But the episode still came during moments of intense emotion, and each time, they seemed stronger. The night everything changed began like any other. Goku, now 7, had spent the day training with Gohan, learning a new sequence of blocks and strikes. They'd eaten dinner outside their small hut, watching stars appear in the darkening sky. "Grandpa, what's that bright one?" Goku pointed upward. Gohan squinted. "That's not a star, my boy. That's the full moon. We don't see it often in these mountains, too many clouds usually." "It's pretty," Goku said, staring upward with fascination. Something about the boy's fixed gaze made Gohan uneasy. "Goku, perhaps we should go inside now. It's getting late. Just a little longer." Goku pleaded, still staring at the moon. "It makes me feel funny. All tingly." Alarm shot through Gohan. "Goku, look away from the moon. Look at me, right now." But it was too late. Goku's body had gone rigid, his eyes wide and reflecting the moonlight with an unnatural redness. A low growl emerged from the boy's throat as his muscles began to twitch and expand. "No." Gohan grabbed the boy's shoulders, trying to break his trance. "Goku. Control it like we practiced." For a moment, Goku seemed to hear him. His eyes flickered, recognition briefly displacing the blankness. "Gee, Grandpa. I feel weird." Then his back arched, and a roar tore from his throat that no human child should have been able to produce. Fur sprouted across his skin as his body began to grow and distort, bones cracking as they reformed and expanded. Gohan backed away, horror dawning as he finally understood what his adopted grandson truly was. The transformation was swift and terrible, the small boy replaced by a giant, ape-like monster that towered over the trees, beating its chest and roaring at the moon. "Goku!" Gohan called out desperately, knowing his voice couldn't possibly reach whatever consciousness remained inside the beast. "You must control it." The giant ape swung around at the sound, red eyes focusing on the tiny figure below. For a heartbeat, Gohan thought he saw hesitation in those terrible eyes. Then the massive fist swung down. Gohan, despite his age, was still one of the greatest martial artists alive. He dodged with speed that would have astonished any witness, leaping onto a nearby boulder. "I don't want to hurt you, boy," he called out, gathering his ki. Perhaps a demonstration of power might shock Goku back to his senses. Gohan formed a ball of energy between his palms, not large enough to cause serious damage to the beast, but bright enough to distract it. He hurled the energy at the giant ape's shoulder. The ki blast struck, eliciting a roar of rage rather than pain. The creature that had been Goku beat its chest, and then something even more alarming happened. The fur covering its massive body began to shimmer with golden light. The red eyes flickered with traces of teal. "What in heaven's name?" Gohan whispered. The golden aura intensified, crackling with electrical energy that shattered rocks and uprooted trees around them. The ape roared again, but this time, the sound contained an undercurrent of pain, as if the creature were fighting against itself. Gohan saw his chance. If some part of Goku was still fighting inside that form, perhaps he could reach him. "Goku! Remember who you are. Remember your training." The beast hesitated, massive head tilting as if listening. The golden aura flickered, dimming slightly. Then a cloud passed over the moon, momentarily blocking its light. The ape creature shuddered, its form wavering, but the moment passed too quickly as the cloud moved on. In that instant of distraction, the beast's attention returned to Gohan. One massive foot stomped forward, shaking the ground. Gohan lost his balance, falling from the boulder. The ape's hand swung down. Old as he was, Gohan might have dodged again, but he saw something in the creature's eyes. A flicker of his grandson, frightened and fighting for control. If he dodged, the beast's rampage might continue for hours, destroying the forest and possibly finding its way to distant villages. Gohan stood his ground, gathering his ki for one last attempt to reach the boy inside the monster. "Goku, my son," he said softly, knowing the beast could hear him even if it couldn't understand. "I believe in you." The giant fist connected. Dawn broke over a scene of devastation. Trees lay uprooted across the mountain clearing, boulders shattered to gravel. In the center of it all lay a small, naked boy, curled into a ball and shivering despite the warm morning air. Goku woke with a pounding headache and a hollow feeling in his chest. Something terrible had happened, but his mind couldn't, or wouldn't, supply the details. "Grandpa," he called out, voice hoarse as if he'd been screaming. "Grandpa, where are you?" Only mountain birds answered, their songs incongruously cheerful against the destruction surrounding him. Goku pushed himself up, confused by his missing clothes and the soreness that permeated every muscle. Had they been attacked? Was Grandpa hurt somewhere? "Grandpa," he yelled, panic rising as he stumbled through the wreckage. He found Gohan's body near their ruined hut, lying peaceful and still, as if he'd simply laid down to rest amid the chaos. But the stillness was wrong. The chest that should have risen and fallen with breath remained motionless. "No, no, no," Goku whispered, shaking the old man's shoulder. "Wake up, Grandpa. Please wake up." Tears streamed down his face as reality slowly penetrated his shock. His grandpa was gone. Something terrible had happened here last night, and somehow, Goku knew it was connected to him, to the hot feeling Grandpa had been teaching him to control. Grief and guilt crashed through him in waves. The air around him began to shimmer as his ki responded to his emotions, rocks trembling on the ground nearby. "No!" Goku shouted, forcing himself to breathe as Gohan had taught him. Control it. Control. With tremendous effort, he pulled the energy back, containing it within his small body where it burned like fire in his veins. He couldn't let it out. Not again. Not if this was what happened when he lost control. When the danger of another outburst had passed, Goku gently arranged Gohan's body, straightening his gi and folding his hands over his chest. Then, working through his tears, he began to dig a grave with his bare hands, each scoop of earth an act of penance for a crime he couldn't remember committing. 5 years passed. Goku lived alone in the mountains, surviving on fish and fruit, continuing the training routines Gohan had taught him, and carefully, always carefully, monitoring the energy inside him. He avoided looking at the full moon, though he couldn't have explained why, just that it stirred a deep, instinctive fear. The golden aura sometimes appeared during intense training, especially when he pushed himself past exhaustion. Each time, he forced it back down, containing it through the meditation techniques Gohan had taught him. Each time, it grew harder to suppress. On his 12th birthday, or what he estimated was his birthday, based on Gohan's records, Goku sat before his grandfather's grave. "I'm trying, Grandpa," he said quietly. "I'm getting stronger, like you wanted. But the hot feeling keeps getting stronger too." The wind whispered through pine needles overhead, offering no answers. "Sometimes I dream about weird stuff. A red planet. People fighting in space. A baby crying in a metal ball." Goku shook his head. "Doesn't make any sense." He placed a freshly caught fish, Gohan's favorite kind, before the grave marker. "I'm lonely," he admitted finally. "But I'm scared to meet people. What if I hurt them too?" The sound of an engine, something Goku had heard only rarely when planes flew high overhead, suddenly cut through the mountain stillness. This was much closer, though. On the ground. Curiosity overcame caution. Goku darted through the trees toward the sound, moving with the silent grace Gohan had drilled into him through years of training. At the edge of the forest, where it met the seldom-used mountain road, he saw something that stopped him in his tracks, a vehicle unlike any he'd seen before, and beside it, a person with blue hair checking what appeared to be a small mechanical device. "Stupid radar," the blue-haired person muttered. "The Dragon Ball should be right here, but I don't see anything but trees and rocks." Goku crouched lower in the underbrush, watching with fascination. Another human. And talking about some strange ball. His hand instinctively went to the small pouch at his waist, where he carried his most precious possession, Grandpa's 4-star ball, a perfect orange sphere with red stars suspended inside it. The stranger looked up suddenly, scanning the tree line. "Hello? Is someone there? I know you're watching me." Goku froze. How had they sensed him? He hadn't made a sound. "Look, I'm not here to cause trouble," the stranger continued. "I'm just looking for something." A ball about this big, they held their hands about 3 inches apart. Orange with stars inside it. Goku's breath caught. They were looking for something like Grandpa's ball. But why? Curiosity finally won out over caution. He stepped from the trees, staff in hand, ready to defend himself if necessary. "Who are you?" he demanded. "And why do you want my grandpa's ball?" The stranger jumped back, startled. "Whoa! Where did you come from, kid?" Their eyes widened, taking in Goku's wild hair, simple homemade clothes, and the tail swishing behind him. "And, is that a tail?" "I asked you first," Goku said, gripping his staff tighter. "Why do you want my grandpa's ball?" The stranger seemed to collect themselves, straightening up with a smile that was probably meant to be disarming. "I'm Bulma. And that ball is actually called a Dragon Ball. I'm collecting them because when you gather all 7 together, they grant you any wish." Goku's eyes narrowed suspiciously. "Any wish? That sounds fake." Bulma laughed. "It does sound crazy, doesn't it? But it's true. Look, she reached into a pouch and pulled out two spheres identical to Goku's except for the number of stars. I already have two of them. The radar says your Dragon Ball is somewhere around here. Goku hesitated, then slowly pulled out his own sphere. You mean this? It was my grandpa's. He gave it to me before he died. Bulma's eyes lit up. The 4-star ball. That's it. She stepped forward eagerly, then stopped when Goku moved back defensively. Hey, I'm not going to snatch it or anything. But, would you consider coming with me to find the others? You look pretty strong, and I could use some protection on this journey. I don't know, Goku said slowly. I don't really leave the mountain. It's safer that way. Safer for who? Bulma asked, raising an eyebrow. The question hit harder than Goku expected. He looked away. Everyone. Bulma studied him with surprising intensity for a moment, then shrugged. Well, I can't force you. But don't you get lonely up here all by yourself? Besides, if we collect all the Dragon Balls, you could use the wish for anything, maybe even to bring your grandpa back. Goku's head snapped up. Really? The balls can do that? I don't see why not. The legend says any wish. For the first time in years, hope flickered in Goku's chest. If he could bring Grandpa back, maybe Gohan could help him finally understand and control the power that had taken him away in the first place. But was it worth the risk of being around other people? What if he lost control again? I need to think about it, Goku said finally. Bulma nodded, surprisingly patient. Tell you what, I'll make camp here for the night. If you decide you want to join me, just come back. If not, I'll be gone in the morning. She paused, then added more gently, it's your choice, kid. But sometimes, running away from your problems just means you never learn how to face them. The words, so similar to something Grandpa might have said, resonated uncomfortably. Goku backed away into the forest, mind racing with possibilities and fears. Back at his hut, he sat before Gohan's grave once more. What should I do, Grandpa? Is this my chance to fix things? Or will I just hurt more people? As night fell, Goku made his decision. Packing a small bundle of essentials and securing his power pole across his back, he took one last look at the only home he remembered. I'll be back, he promised the silent grave. Maybe with you. When he arrived at Bulma's camp, she was tinkering with her radar by firelight. I'll come with you, Goku announced. But on one condition, if I tell you we need to leave somewhere fast, or that I need to be alone, you don't ask questions. You just do it. Bulma looked up, surprised both by his return and the seriousness in his young voice. That's an unusual condition. It's the only way I can come. I have my reasons. Something in his expression must have convinced her. Bulma nodded slowly. Deal. We leave at first light. She grinned suddenly. By the way, you never told me your name, Mountain Boy. Goku, he said. Son Goku. Well, Son Goku, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, and one heck of an adventure. Goku managed a small smile in return, hoping desperately that he wasn't making a terrible mistake. Traveling with Bulma opened Goku's eyes to how little he knew about the world beyond his mountain. Cars, capsules, cities, different types of people and animals, everything fascinated him. But more than the new sights and experiences, it was the growing realization that he didn't automatically hurt people that began to ease his self-imposed isolation. Their journey wasn't without challenges. Bandits attacked them on the road, a shape-shifting pig named Oolong tried to kidnap Bulma, and they had several close calls with a desert bandit called Yamcha who was also hunting the Dragon Balls. Through it all, Goku found himself repeatedly using the fighting skills Gohan had taught him, and gradually learning to trust his own strength without fearing it. Until the full moon appeared again. They'd been traveling for almost 2 weeks, collecting Dragon Balls along the way, when they made camp in a clearing similar to the one where Goku had lost control years before. Bulma had fallen asleep early, exhausted from a day of hiking, while Goku took first watch. The clouds parted, revealing the full moon hanging low and bright in the sky. Goku felt it immediately, a tingling across his skin, a quickening of his pulse. He turned away sharply, remembering the deep-seated warning that had kept him from looking at full moons for years. But it was too late. The light had touched his eyes, and something primal stirred in response. His heart raced, muscles tensing as power surged through him. "No," he gasped, falling to his knees. "Not now. Not here." Images flashed through his mind, enormous hands crushing trees, a tiny figure trying to dodge, failing. With a desperate effort, Goku focused on his breathing, calling on every meditation technique Gohan had taught him. The energy boiled inside him, pushing for release, but he fought it back with all his mental strength. "I control it," he ground out between clenched teeth. "Not the other way around." His body trembled violently, fur beginning to sprout along his arms as his muscles swelled. But instead of surrendering to the transformation, Goku channeled the energy, directing it as Gohan had taught him to direct his ki during training. For several agonizing minutes, he fought a battle no one could see, man against beast, consciousness against primal rage. Finally, with a gasp, Goku felt the transformation recede. The fur disappeared, his muscles returned to normal size, but he remained conscious, staring at his own hands in disbelief. He'd stopped it. For the first time, he'd actually stopped the change. Exhausted beyond measure, Goku crawled away from the clearing, putting dense trees between himself and the moonlight until he found a small cave. There he collapsed, shaking with the aftermath of his struggle. "I did it, Grandpa," he whispered into the darkness. "I controlled it." It wasn't complete mastery, he'd only stopped the transformation, not prevented it from beginning, but it was progress. Hope flickered anew in his chest. If he could learn to control this aspect of his strange power, perhaps he could learn to control the rest as well. When morning came, Goku returned to camp to find Bulma frantically searching for him. "Where were you?" she demanded. "I woke up and you were gone." Goku rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly. "Sorry. I thought I heard something in the woods and went to check it out. Must have wandered farther than I meant to." Bulma didn't look entirely convinced, but she let it drop. "Well, don't do it again. I was worried sick." Her concern touched him. For so long, he'd been alone with his fears and struggles. Having someone who actually worried about his well-being felt nice. As they packed up camp, Goku made a decision. He couldn't tell Bulma everything, not yet, but perhaps he didn't have to carry his burden entirely alone anymore either. "Bulma," he said suddenly, "do you ever feel like there's something inside you that you can't fully control? Like a power or feeling that might hurt people if you let it out?" She looked at him curiously. "That's a pretty deep question for breakfast time." After a moment's thought, she shrugged. "I guess my temper's like that sometimes." "Why? Is this about why you wanted that weird condition when we started traveling together?" Goku nodded slowly. "Sort of. I'm just working through some stuff." "Well, whatever it is, you seem to be handling it okay so far," Bulma said, surprising him with her confidence. "And hey, if you ever want to talk about it, I'm pretty good at solving problems. I am a genius, after all." She winked. Goku smiled, grateful for her understanding even without knowing the details. "Thanks, Bulma. Don't mention it. Now come on, the radar shows the next Dragon Ball is close." Their journey continued, bringing new allies and challenges. Yamcha eventually joined their group after Goku defeated him in combat, impressed by the young boy's surprising skill. They rescued a turtle and were rewarded with a visit to Master Roshi, a legendary martial arts master who, to Goku's shock, had been Gohan's own teacher years before. Gohan's grandson, eh? Master Roshi examined Goku with keen interest that seemed to look right through him. "Yes, I see the resemblance, not in your face, but in your spirit. Though there's something else there too," Goku shifted uncomfortably under the old master's gaze. Something else? A power, Rashi said quietly. Old and volatile. Gohan mentioned it in his letters to me years ago. Said he was teaching you to control it. Hope surged in Goku's chest. You knew about it? Did he tell you what it was? Where it came from? Rashi shook his head. Only that it was unlike anything he'd encountered before. He believed you could master it, though. The old master stroked his beard thoughtfully. I sense you've made progress, but you're still holding back. Containing rather than truly controlling. I have to, Goku said, lowering his voice so the others couldn't hear. When I lose control, bad things happen. Perhaps, Rashi acknowledged. But complete suppression isn't mastery either. True control means being able to channel power, direct it, use it when needed. Could you teach me? Goku asked hesitantly. Rashi considered him for a long moment. Not now. You have a journey to complete first. He glanced toward where Bulma was showing off their collected Dragon Balls. But afterward, if you wish to train with me, my island is open to you. Goku bowed deeply, hope blossoming further. Another teacher who might help him understand his mysterious power was more than he'd dared wish for. Their quest for the Dragon Balls continued, leading them to Fire Mountain where they encountered the Ox King, another former student of Master Rashi, and his daughter Chi-Chi. Young as he was, Goku found Chi-Chi's immediate crush on him both confusing and a little frightening, particularly when she talked about marriage, a concept he barely understood. But we just met, he protested when Chi-Chi declared they would be married someday. She giggled, undeterred. That's how it works in all the best stories. And you saved me, so you must be my prince. Goku looked to Bulma for help, but she just smirked, clearly enjoying his discomfort. Don't look at me, kid. You're the one who agreed to marry her when you thought marriage was food. I was hungry. Goku defended himself. I'm always hungry. Despite these lighter moments, their journey took a darker turn when they encountered Emperor Pilaf, a small blue-skinned man with outsized ambitions who managed to steal their collected Dragon Balls. Trapped in Pilaf's castle, they watched helplessly as the Emperor prepared to summon the dragon and wish for world domination. We can't let him do this, Goku said, pounding against the reinforced glass cell where they were imprisoned. Even his extraordinary strength couldn't break through. We don't have much choice, Yamcha replied grimly. These walls are too thick. Bulma slumped against the wall. So close. We were so close to getting our wishes. Goku looked at her, suddenly remembering why he'd joined this quest in the first place. Your wish, he said. What were you going to wish for anyway? You never said. Bulma blushed slightly. It's silly. I was going to wish for a perfect boyfriend. Despite the dire situation, Yamcha snorted. You needed a magical dragon for that? Hey! Like your wish was any better, Desert Bandit. As they bickered, Goku turned to look through the small window in their cell. Outside, Pilaf and his minions had arranged the 7 Dragon Balls in a circle. They were beginning the summoning ritual. Desperation gripped him. They couldn't fail now, not when he was so close to possibly bringing Grandpa Gohan back. And they couldn't let someone like Pilaf rule the world. The familiar heat began to build inside him, the power he'd spent years containing. For the first time, Goku considered deliberately letting it out. Stand back, he told the others. What are you going to do? Bulma asked, eyes widening at his tone. Goku took a deep breath. Something I've been afraid to try. He centered himself, focusing on the energy within as Gohan had taught him. But instead of suppressing it, he let it flow, not in the uncontrolled rush that had caused so much destruction before, but in a careful, directed channel. Golden light began to shimmer around him. His hair lifted slightly as if in a breeze, though the air in the cell was still. Goku? Bulma whispered, backing against the wall. What's happening to you? I'm not sure, he admitted, his voice deeper than normal. But I think it's okay. The energy continued building, crackling around him like electricity. It felt different from his previous episodes, not a loss of control, but a focusing of it. Power with purpose rather than blind rage. With a shout, Goku directed the energy outward, toward the wall of their cell. The golden light surged forward in a concentrated beam that struck the reinforced material and blasted through it, leaving a smoking hole large enough for them to escape. The effort left Goku gasping, the golden aura fading as quickly as it had appeared. He staggered slightly, surprised to find Yamcha's hand on his shoulder, steadying him. "What was that?" the former bandit asked, eyes wide. Later, Goku managed. "Right now, we need to stop Pilaf." They rushed through the hole into the courtyard where Pilaf stood before the glowing Dragon Balls, mouth open to make his wish. The sky had darkened unnaturally, clouds swirling as the summoning neared completion. "Stop him!" Bulma shouted. Pilaf turned, his triumphant expression morphing to horror at the sight of his escaped prisoners. "Guards! Get them!" But it was too late. The Dragon Balls pulsed with golden light, and from them erupted a beam that shot skyward, coalescing into the enormous form of Shenron, the Eternal Dragon. "I am the Eternal Dragon," boomed a voice that seemed to resonate from everywhere at once. "Speak your wish and I shall grant it." In the chaos that followed, with Pilaf's guards attacking and everyone scrambling for position beneath the massive dragon, Goku found himself closest to Shenron. This was his chance, perhaps his only chance, to bring back Grandpa Gohan. But as he opened his mouth to make the wish, another thought struck him. Would Grandpa want to be brought back this way? Or would he want Goku to find his own path, to master his powers on his own? The answer came with surprising clarity. Gohan had always taught him self-reliance, had believed in his ability to overcome his own challenges. Bringing him back might ease Goku's guilt, but it wouldn't help him grow. Instead, Goku shouted, "I wish for Pilaf's castle to be destroyed, but for everyone here to escape safely." The dragon's eyes glowed red. "Your wish is granted." The ground began to shake immediately, stones falling from the castle walls around them. "What did you do?" Pilaf shrieked as his fortress began to crumble. "Run!" Goku yelled to his friends, grabbing Bulma's hand and pulling her toward the exit. They barely escaped before the entire structure collapsed, leaving Emperor Pilaf and his minions standing amid the ruins of their ambitions, completely harmless. As the dragon disappeared and the Dragon Balls rose into the air, scattering across the world once more, not to be usable again for a full year, Bulma turned to Goku with an expression of wonder and confusion. "You could have wished for anything," she said. "Why did you wish for that?" Goku watched the last of the glowing balls vanish over the horizon. "It was the right thing to do. We couldn't let Pilaf take over the world." "But your grandpa, I thought you wanted to bring him back." Goku nodded, a wistful smile touching his lips. "I did. But Grandpa would want me to face my challenges, not look for magical solutions. There's something inside me I need to learn to control, and I don't think even Shenron can help with that." Bulma studied him for a long moment, then smiled. "You know, for a kid who grew up in the mountains, you're pretty wise sometimes." Goku rubbed the back of his neck, embarrassed. "Not wise. Just trying to do what Grandpa would want." As they began the journey back to civilization, Goku felt lighter somehow. He'd faced one of his greatest fears, deliberately using the power within him, and had controlled it. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough to help his friends when they needed it most. It was a beginning. Months later, Goku stood on the registration platform of the World Martial Arts Tournament, barely able to contain his excitement. After their Dragon Ball adventure, he'd taken Master Roshi up on his offer of training, joining another student named Krillin at the old master's island home. The training had been brutal, delivering milk across an entire island while wearing weighted turtle shells, swimming with sharks, dodging bees, farming with bare hands. But through it all, Goku had thrived, pushing his limits daily and gradually learning finer control of his ki. Now he was ready to test himself against the world's strongest fighters. "Are you nervous?" Krillin asked beside him, fidgeting with his tournament number. Goku grinned. "Nope. Just excited. Think of all the strong people we'll get to fight." "You're crazy," Krillin muttered, but there was affection in his voice. Over months of training together, the two had become like brothers, bickering, competing, but ultimately supporting each other. Master Roshi approached, now disguised as Jackie Chun, to hide his true identity from his students. "Remember what I taught you both. Fighting isn't about defeating others, it's about overcoming yourself." Goku nodded seriously. No one understood that better than him. Every day was a battle not just to grow stronger, but to maintain control over the volatile power within him. The preliminary rounds passed in a blur of excitement. Goku defeated opponent after opponent, careful to hold back enough not to seriously injure anyone, but showing enough skill to advance easily to the main tournament. It was during his quarter-final match against a fighter named Jiren that Goku faced his first real test. The reptilian competitor was stronger than expected, and fighting dirty. When Jiren trapped Goku in a special rubber-like substance called the merry-go-round gum, the young fighter found himself completely immobilized. "Give up, kid," Jiren taunted. "You can't break my merry-go-round gum. No one ever has." The crowd began to murmur as Goku struggled against his bonds. In the stands, his friends cheered encouragement, but even they looked worried. Frustration built inside Goku. He'd trained too hard to lose like this. The familiar heat began to rise, power surging in response to his emotions. "No," he whispered to himself. "Control it. Direct it." Focusing inward, Goku channeled the building energy, not fighting against it but working with it. A faint golden aura shimmered around him, barely visible to the audience but causing Master Roshi to lean forward with sudden intensity. "What is that?" the disguised master murmured. With a shout, Goku released a controlled burst of energy that shattered his rubber restraints, sending fragments flying across the ring. The golden aura disappeared almost instantly, but the look of shock on Jiren's face remained. "How did you?" the reptilian fighter began. Goku didn't give him time to finish the question. Moving with speed that left afterimages, he charged forward and delivered a series of strikes that sent Jiren flying from the ring. "Winner by ring out, Son Goku," the announcer declared to thunderous applause. As Goku left the ring, Master Roshi intercepted him in the waiting area. "That energy," the disguised master said quietly. "What was it?" Goku looked down, unsure how to explain. "It's the thing Grandpa Gohan was helping me learn to control. The power that comes out when I get really emotional." Roshi stroked his fake beard thoughtfully. "I've seen many types of ki manipulation in my centuries of life, but never quite like that. There was something different about its quality. Almost alien." The word sent a chill through Goku. "Alien?" "Just an old man's musings," Roshi said, waving his hand dismissively. "Whatever its source, you're learning to channel it rather than suppress it. That's progress." Goku nodded, but the master's words lingered in his mind. Alien. Why did that word resonate so strangely? The tournament continued, bringing Goku face to face with Krillin in the semi-finals, a match that tested their friendship as much as their skills. After a hard-fought battle that showcased how far they'd both come, Goku emerged victorious, though he made sure to help his exhausted friend from the ring afterward. "Sorry about that," Goku said as they returned to the waiting area. Krillin shook his head, managing a smile despite his disappointment. "Don't be. You won fair and square. Just promise you'll beat whoever you face in the finals." That opponent turned out to be Jackie Chun himself, Master Roshi in disguise, though Goku wouldn't learn this until much later. Their final match pushed Goku beyond anything he'd experienced before. Roshi was holding nothing back, testing not just Goku's physical abilities but his mental control as well. "You've grown strong," Jackie Chun said during a brief pause in their exchange of blows. "But raw power isn't enough. Show me your control. The disguised master unleashed a barrage of energy attacks, forcing Goku to dodge, block, and counter with precision rather than brute force. Each exchange pushed him closer to his limits, threatening to trigger the volatile power within. As the match intensified, clouds parted overhead, revealing the full moon that had risen during the tournament's final rounds. Goku, caught in the heat of battle, glanced up reflexively, and felt the immediate, primal response surge through his body. No! He gasped, dropping into a defensive stance and squeezing his eyes shut. Not here. Not now. But it was too late. The transformation had begun. Fur sprouted along his arms, his muscles swelled, and his consciousness began to recede as the beast within fought for control. In the stands, his friends watched in horror as Goku began to change before their eyes. What's happening to him? Bulma cried. Oolong, the shape-shifting pig who had joined their group during the Dragon Ball hunt, suddenly snapped his fingers in recognition. I've heard stories about this. Some people turn into giant apes when they look at the full moon. On the tournament platform, Jackie Chun recognized the danger immediately. If Goku completed his transformation into the Great Ape form, countless spectators could die in the rampage that would follow. But instead of attacking or fleeing, the disguised master stepped closer to his struggling student. Goku, he said firmly. Focus. Remember your training. You can control this. Through the haze of the transformation, Goku heard the familiar voice. Not Rashi's, not Jackie Chun's, but somehow both, a voice of wisdom and guidance that cut through the primal rage building inside him. I can't. He ground out, his voice deepening, becoming more bestial. You can, Jackie insisted. You've been suppressing this power for years. Now it's time to master it instead. The words penetrated Goku's consciousness just as they had during his training on the island. Master it. Not fight it. Not surrender to it. Master it. With a tremendous effort of will, Goku focused on the techniques Rashi had taught him: breath control, ki circulation, mental focus. The transformation paused, caught between human and beast as Goku fought the greatest battle of his life within his own mind. In the audience, people began to murmur in confusion and fear. On the tournament platform, Jackie Chun waited, ready to intervene if necessary but giving his student the chance to overcome this challenge himself. Seconds stretched into minutes as Goku wrestled with the transformation. Finally, with a guttural cry that was half human, half beast, he forced the change to recede. The fur disappeared, his muscles returned to normal size, and his consciousness fully reasserted itself. Gasping, Goku fell to his knees on the tournament platform. He'd done it, stopped a full transformation through sheer force of will. But the effort had drained him completely. When Jackie Chun approached to continue their match, Goku could barely stand. I forfeit, Goku said, his voice hoarse but determined. You win. Jackie shook his head. Are you sure? That's not like you, to give up. Goku managed a tired smile. I'm not giving up. I'm acknowledging that you're the better fighter today. But I'll keep training. Next time will be different. The disguised master studied him for a moment, then nodded with respect. Then I accept your forfeit. But you're right, next time will indeed be different. As the announcer declared Jackie Chun the winner of the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament, Goku's friends rushed to the platform to check on him. Are you okay? Bulma demanded. What happened out there? I'm fine, Goku assured them, though exhaustion lined every word. Just learned something important about myself. Later that night, as they celebrated the end of the tournament at a local restaurant, Goku eating enough for 10 people despite his exhaustion, Master Roshi, now back in his usual appearance, pulled him aside. You faced something powerful today, the old master said. Something you've been running from for years. Goku nodded solemnly. The moon transformation. It's what happened the night Grandpa died, isn't it? I transformed and I killed him without knowing it. Rashi placed a gentle hand on the boy's shoulder. Gohan would be proud of how you faced it today. You didn't let it control you. Not completely, Goku acknowledged. But I still couldn't maintain the fight afterward. I was too drained. That will come with time and practice. Rashi stroked his beard thoughtfully. There's more to your power than just the transformation, though. That golden energy you sometimes manifest, it's connected, but different. Almost as if. As if what? Goku prompted when the master trailed off. Rashi shook his head. Just an old theory. There were legends, long ago, about warriors from beyond the stars with the power to transform under the full moon. Warriors who could channel incredible energy when pushed to their limits. From beyond the stars? Goku repeated, that strange resonance returning at the words. You mean, not from Earth? As I said, just legends. Rashi clapped him on the shoulder. What matters is that you're learning to control your gifts, whatever their source. That's what Gohan would have wanted. Goku nodded, though his mind raced with new questions. Warriors from beyond the stars. Could that explain the strange dreams he sometimes had of the red planet and metal spheres? But those questions would have to wait. For now, he had achieved something remarkable, faced his greatest fear and taken the first true steps toward mastering the power within. Not just containing it, but directing it. As he rejoined his friends at the table, listening to Krillin recount his matches and Bulma tease Yamcha about his early elimination, Goku felt a sense of belonging he'd never experienced during his years of self-imposed isolation. These people accepted him, even without knowing all his secrets. Hey, Goku, Krillin said suddenly. What are you going to do now that the tournament's over? Goku considered the question. Keep training, I guess. There's still so much I need to learn about, well, about everything. You could come back to Capsule Corp with me, Bulma offered. My dad would love to meet you, and we've got plenty of room. Or you could return to my island for more advanced training, Rashi added. Though I warn you, it will make what you've experienced so far seem like child's play. Yamcha grinned. Or you could join me. I'm planning to enter the professional fighting circuit. With your skills, we'd make a fortune. Goku looked around at his friends, a warm feeling spreading through his chest. For someone who had spent so much of his life alone, afraid of hurting others, having so many people who wanted him around was still a novelty. I think, he said slowly, I want to do some exploring on my own for a while. See more of the world. Learn more about myself. He touched his chest, where the strange power still simmered, now more intriguing than frightening. But I'll definitely be back for the next tournament. His friends raised their glasses in a toast. To new adventures. Bulma declared. And to old friends, Goku added with a smile. As the celebration continued around him, Goku gazed out the restaurant window at the night sky, now clear of clouds. Somewhere up there, perhaps, were answers to the questions that had begun to form in his mind, about his unusual strength, his ability to transform, the golden energy that sometimes manifested when his emotions ran high. Someday, he promised himself, he would find those answers. But for now, he had taken the most important step, facing his fear and beginning to master the power within. And that was enough. Chapter 2, Heritage of the Stars. 5 years passed in what felt like the blink of an eye. Goku's journey of self-discovery had taken him across mountains, through deserts, and into the depths of ancient temples. He'd fought countless opponents, each battle teaching him something new about his unusual powers. That golden energy still emerged in moments of extreme emotion, but he'd grown better at channeling it rather than suppressing it, like redirecting a river instead of building a dam. Now, at 24, Goku stood outside a modest home in the mountains not far from where he'd grown up with Grandpa Gohan. The house had been built with his own hands for his new family, Chi-Chi, the fiery daughter of the Ox King who had tracked him down and reminded him of a childhood promise to marry her, and their 4-year-old son, Gohan, named after the grandfather Goku had lost. Gohan. Don't wander too far. Chi-Chi called from the doorway, watching their son chasing a butterfly near the tree line. I won't, Mom, the boy called back, his laughter carrying on the morning breeze. Goku smiled, still amazed at how his life had changed. Marriage had been an adjustment. Chi-Chi's temper rivaled even the legendary power that slumbered within him, but her strength of character and devotion to their family had quickly earned his deep respect and love. And Gohan, his son, was a miracle Goku hadn't known to wish for. You're staring again, Chi-Chi said, coming to stand beside him. Goku wrapped an arm around her shoulders. Just thinking how lucky I am. She leaned into him, her initial annoyance softening. You're getting philosophical in your old age, son Goku. 24 is old, he laughed. Ancient, she confirmed with mock seriousness. Then, more genuinely, are you still planning to visit Master Roshi today? Goku nodded. It's been too long since I've seen everyone. Krillin said they're all gathering at Kame House, even Bulma and Yamcha are taking a break from the city. Chi-Chi's expression grew wary. Just a visit, right? You promised, no tournaments, no death-defying adventures. Gohan needs his father here. Just catching up with old friends, Goku assured her, though a familiar restlessness stirred within him. 5 years of relative peace had been good for his family, but the warrior in him sometimes hungered for challenge. Besides, I thought maybe Gohan could come along. Meet everyone. Chi-Chi's eyes narrowed. So my son can be influenced by that old pervert and your fighting-obsessed friends? I don't think so. Gohan is going to be a scholar. Chi-Chi, they're his family too. And one afternoon won't turn him into a fighter. She wavered, looking over at their son. Gohan had discovered a small frog and was carefully examining it, his expression one of pure scientific curiosity. Well, I suppose a short visit wouldn't hurt. But you bring him back by dinner, understand? And no showing off your powers or telling wild stories that'll give him ideas. Goku grinned and kissed her cheek. Promise. An hour later, Goku soared through the air with Gohan clinging to his back, the boys' excited shouts trailing behind them like a banner. The Nimbus Cloud, a gift from Master Roshi years ago, carried them swiftly over forests and mountains toward the small island where Kame House stood. Dad, we're flying! Gohan exclaimed for perhaps the 20th time, his small hands gripping Goku's gi. Sure are, little man. What do you think, faster than your mom's car? Way faster. And funner. Goku laughed. Don't tell your mom I let you use funner instead of more fun. She'll have both our hides. As they approached the island, Goku spotted familiar figures gathered outside the pink house, Krillin's bald head reflecting the sun, Bulma's blue hair, Master Roshi's distinctive sunglasses, and several others. There they are, Gohan, all your dad's old friends. Gohan suddenly turned shy, burying his face against Goku's back. What if they don't like me? Not like you. That's impossible, Goku assured him as Nimbus descended toward the beach. They've been waiting to meet you forever. The cloud had barely touched down when Krillin bounded forward. Goku. Man, look at you, still rocking the same old Gi after all these years. Goku jumped down, lifting Gohan to stand beside him. Why mess with what works? Great to see you, Krillin. They clasped arms, grinning like the teenagers they'd been when they first trained together. Krillin hadn't grown an inch taller, but his confidence had. The nervous boy had become a self-assured man, though his eyes still held that glint of mischief. And this must be the famous Gohan we've heard so much about, Krillin said, crouching to the boy's level. Gohan half hid behind Goku's leg, peeking out with curious eyes. Hello, sir. Sir. Krillin laughed. I'm Uncle Krillin, kid. Your dad and I go way back. Has he told you about the time we had to deliver milk up a mountain with turtle shells on our backs? Before Gohan could answer, the others crowded around. Bulma pushed forward, her hair now styled in a trendy bob, designer clothes replacing the adventure gear Goku remembered. "Oh my gosh, he's adorable," she exclaimed, immediately kneeling to Gohan's level. "Hi there. I'm Bulma. Your dad and I found the Dragon Balls together when he was just a little older than you." "Dragon Balls?" Gohan repeated, curiosity overcoming shyness. Master Roshi chuckled, approaching more slowly with his walking stick. "Now there's a word to get any child's attention. Mystical dragons and magical wishes." Goku smiled as Gohan gradually warmed to the group, answering their questions about his studies, which impressed everyone given his young age, and showing off the 4-star Dragon Ball hat Chi-Chi had made for him, Goku's most treasured possession, now a good luck charm for his son. "He's nothing like you were at that age," Bulma commented quietly to Goku as they watched Gohan examining a hermit crab with Krillin. "So studious and well-mannered." "That's all Chi-Chi," Goku admitted. "She's determined he'll be a scholar, not a fighter." "And how do you feel about that?" Goku shrugged. "I want him to be happy. If books make him happy, that's fine. Though." He trailed off, watching his son's careful movements, the perfect balance, the inherent grace that hadn't come from study. "Though what?" Bulma prompted. "He has potential. I can sense it. Maybe even more than mine." Bulma raised an eyebrow. "That's saying something. Have you seen any signs of, your special energy in him?" Goku knew what she meant. Over the years, his closest friends had witnessed glimpses of his unusual power, the golden aura that sometimes manifested during intense battles, though he'd never fully transformed in front of them. Only Master Roshi knew about the great ape form, and even he didn't know everything. "Nothing definite," Goku said. "But sometimes when he's upset, I sense something familiar." Their conversation was interrupted by Master Roshi calling everyone for lunch. The gathering became a proper reunion as they shared food and stories, catching up on 5 years of separate lives. Yamcha and Bulma had broken up again, final this time, they both insisted, though no one believed them. Krillin had continued training with Master Roshi. Launch, Roshi's unpredictable houseguest, still transformed between sweet and psychotic with each sneeze. For a few precious hours, it felt like old times. Until Goku sensed it. His head snapped up mid-bite, eyes narrowing as he focused on a presence approaching from the east. Power unlike anything he'd felt before on Earth, raw, aggressive, and somehow, familiar. "Goku?" Krillin asked, noticing his friend's sudden alertness. "What's wrong?" "Something's coming," Goku said, rising from his seat. "Something powerful." The others exchanged concerned glances. They'd learned long ago to trust Goku's instincts. "How powerful are we talking?" Yamcha asked, tension creeping into his voice. Goku moved toward the shore, eyes fixed on the horizon. "More powerful than anyone I've ever faced." "Great," Bulma muttered. So much for a peaceful reunion. Within minutes, they all felt it, a pressure in the air that made breathing difficult, a malevolent energy approaching fast. Goku positioned himself in front of the group, Gohan safely behind with Bulma. "Stay back," he warned them. "We don't know what we're dealing with." A dark speck appeared in the sky, rapidly growing larger until they could make out a humanoid figure flying without any visible means of support, not riding a cloud like Goku, but moving through air by what appeared to be sheer force of will. The figure landed on the beach with enough force to send sand spraying in all directions. As the dust settled, they found themselves facing a tall, muscular man with waist-length spiky black hair. He wore strange armor over a one-piece suit, and a device with a green lens covered one eye. Most striking was his face, sharp, severe, but with features that triggered an unsettling sense of recognition in Goku. "Well, well," the stranger said, his voice carrying an accent none of them recognized. "Found you at last. Kakarot." Goku stared at the newcomer, confusion written across his face. "Kakarot? I think you've got the wrong guy. My name's Goku." The stranger's lip curled in disgust. They even took your name from you. Pathetic. He tapped the device over his eye. But there's no mistake. Same power signature, same facial structure. You're Kakarot, son of Bardock, sent to this mudball as an infant. Something cold settled in Goku's stomach. The dreams he'd had for years, a red planet, a metal sphere, a baby crying, suddenly felt less like dreams and more like fragments of memory. Who are you? He demanded. And what do you want? The stranger smirked. I'm Raditz. Your brother. He paused, letting the bombshell land. And I've come to remind you of your mission, which you've clearly failed. This planet should have been purged of life years ago, prepared for sale. Instead, I find you playing house with these weaklings. Stunned silence fell over the group. Krillin was the first to recover. Brother? Goku doesn't have a brother. He was raised by his grandfather here on Earth. Raditz scoffed. An Earth grandfather? Is that what you think? His gaze shifted to Goku. You really have no idea what you are, do you? Goku held his ground, though his mind raced. Why don't you tell me? You're not of this world, Kakarot. You're a Saiyan, a warrior from planet Vegeta, the most powerful fighting race in the universe. We are planet brokers. We find suitable worlds, clear them of inhabitants, and prepare them for sale to the highest bidder. That's insane, Bulma interjected. Goku would never. Silence. Raditz barked. I'm speaking to my brother. His eyes narrowed at Goku. You were sent here as an infant to purge this planet. A simple task, even for a low-class warrior child. These humans are pathetically weak. His gaze flicked to the device over his eye. Though your power level is disappointing as well. What happened to you? Goku's fists clenched at his sides. I hit my head as a child. I don't remember anything from before that. Raditz laughed, a harsh sound without humor. That explains the failure, at least. But it doesn't matter now. Our home planet was destroyed by a meteor. Only 4 Saiyans survived, you, me, and 2 others. We need every Saiyan we can get for our current employment. Employment? Master Roshi asked, stepping forward despite the danger radiating from the visitor. We've found a planet that will fetch an excellent price, but the inhabitants are strong. Even for elite warriors like Prince Vegeta and Nappa, it's a challenge. We remembered your assignment and tracked you down. Raditz's smile was predatory. Time to rejoin your people, Kakarot. Time to embrace your Saiyan heritage. Goku's expression hardened. I don't care what you say I am. Earth is my home. These people are my family. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm definitely not helping you destroy worlds. Raditz's face darkened. I had a feeling you might be reluctant. Soft-hearted from living among weaklings. So I prepared a persuasion tactic. His gaze shifted to where Gohan stood half-hidden behind Bulma. Is that your offspring, Kakarot? Yes, I can sense Saiyan blood, diluted though it is. Goku moved instantly, placing himself between Raditz and his son. Leave him out of this. Oh, but he's very much in this. Saiyan blood, however mixed, is still Saiyan blood. Raditz tapped his scouter again. Interesting, the child's potential power reading is quite impressive. Must have inherited something special from you, brother. A chill ran through Goku. The legendary power, could it have passed to Gohan? Dad? Gohan called, his voice small and frightened. What's happening? It's okay, Gohan, Goku said, not taking his eyes off Raditz. Everything's going to be fine. Raditz laughed again. Don't lie to the boy, Kakarot. Nothing is fine. Here's what's going to happen, you're going to prove your Saiyan nature by eliminating, let's say, 100 humans by tomorrow. Bring the bodies here as proof of your commitment. Do that, and you can join us with your son's life intact. Refuse. His smile widened. Well, I've always wondered if half-breed Saiyans are as tough as purebloods. You're not touching my son, Goku growled, and something in his voice made even Raditz pause. For a moment, the air between them seemed to shimmer with heat. Your power level just spiked, Raditz observed, sounding genuinely surprised. Perhaps there's more Saiyan in you than I thought. You have no idea what I am, Goku said quietly. Raditz opened his mouth to respond, but Goku moved, faster than anyone present had ever seen him move. One moment he stood on the shore, the next his fist connected with Raditz's jaw in an impact that should have shattered bone. Instead, Raditz merely staggered back a step, then grinned. There's the Saiyan spirit. But you're still weak, brother. Before Goku could react, Raditz drove a knee into his stomach with enough force to lift him off the ground. Pain exploded through Goku's body as he folded around the blow, breath driven from his lungs. Dad! Gohan cried, breaking free from Bulma's restraining hands. Gohan, no! Goku gasped, but too late. Raditz snatched the boy mid-run, tucking the struggling child under one arm. I'll hold on to this little half-breed for now. Complete your mission, Kakarot, and you'll get him back. 100 human corpses by this time tomorrow. With his free hand, Raditz casually backhanded Goku, sending him crashing through the wall of Kame House. Then, with a final smirk, he rose into the air, Gohan's terrified screams fading as they disappeared over the horizon. Gohan! Goku shouted, pushing himself from the wreckage despite his injuries. Blood trickled from his split lip as he staggered to his feet, eyes fixed on the empty sky where his son had vanished. His friends rushed to his side. Goku, are you okay? Krillin asked, supporting his arm. He took my son, Goku said, his voice hollow. He took Gohan. We'll get him back, Bulma insisted. We'll find the Dragon Balls if we have to, there's no time, Goku cut her off. I need to go after them now. Master Roshi shook his head grimly. You saw his power, Goku. He took your best punch like it was nothing. I wasn't using everything, Goku said, a dangerous edge in his voice. I held back because of Gohan. But now. The air around him began to shimmer with that now familiar golden light, his hair lifting slightly as if in an unfelt breeze. Whoa, Krillin breathed. I haven't seen that energy since, a new voice interrupted from above. Since the tournament, I imagine. They all looked up to see a green-skinned figure hovering over the island, tall, muscular, with pointed ears and antennae, wearing a purple GI and white cape. His arms were crossed over his chest, expression stern. Piccolo! Krillin exclaimed. Great, that's all we need. Piccolo descended slowly, landing several yards from the group. Son of the evil King Piccolo and sworn enemy of Goku, he'd spent years training for revenge after his father's defeat. I sense the power that just left, Piccolo said without preamble. Not of this world, and stronger than anything I've felt before. His eyes locked with Goku's. Even stronger than you, son Goku. Goku straightened, wincing at the pain in his ribs. What do you want, Piccolo? I don't have time for a rematch right now. I'm not here to fight you. Not today. Piccolo's expression remained severe. That creature, whatever he is, threatens this entire planet. I can't conquer a world that's been destroyed by someone else. Despite everything, Goku almost smiled at the twisted logic. So you want to help? A temporary alliance, Piccolo clarified. My power combined with yours might be enough to defeat him. After that, we return to being enemies. Krillin stepped forward. Goku, you can't trust him. He's just waiting for a chance to kill you. He's being honest, at least, Goku said. Then, to Piccolo, I accept. But understand this, my son's safety comes first. If you do anything to endanger Gohan, our temporary alliance ends immediately. Piccolo's lip curled in what might have been a smile or a sneer. Touching. The boy is irrelevant to me. Defeating this invader is all that matters. His name is Raditz, Goku said. And apparently, he's my brother. Piccolo's eyes widened slightly, the only indication of his surprise. Brother? So you're one of these, what did he call it? Saiyans. The word felt strange in Goku's mouth. From planet Vegeta. Well, that explains a few things, Piccolo muttered, almost to himself. I always sense something different about your ki. Something not quite human. Goku turned to his friends. I need to go after Gohan now. Can you try to locate the Dragon Balls, just in case? He didn't finish the thought, just in case we fail, just in case we die. We're on it, Bulma assured him, already pulling out a capsule containing her radar. But Goku, be careful. This guy, your brother, he's not like other opponents you've faced. I know. Goku turned to Piccolo. Can you sense where he went? Piccolo nodded. Northwest from here. A barren region with high plateaus. I can lead the way. Nimbus. Goku called, and a yellow cloud streaked down from the sky. Krillin stepped forward. Goku, let me come too. And Yamcha. You'll need all the help you can get. Goku shook his head. No. Raditz is too powerful. I can't risk more lives. His expression softened. Besides, someone needs to tell Chi-Chi what's happened. The blood drained from Krillin's face. You want me to tell your wife that your evil alien brother kidnapped your son? She'll kill me. Despite everything, Goku managed a brief smile. Probably. But better you than me, right? Before Krillin could protest further, Goku leapt onto Nimbus. Let's go, Piccolo. The unlikely allies shot into the sky, one on a golden cloud, the other by his own power, leaving their stunned friends staring after them. Well, Master Roshi said after a moment, that was certainly an informative reunion. Goku and Piccolo soared through the sky at speeds that would have torn apart an ordinary human. Neither spoke for several minutes, both focused on the task ahead and the unlikely partnership that circumstances had forced upon them. Finally, Piccolo broke the silence. This power of yours, the golden energy. I've sensed it before, even when we weren't fighting. What is it? Goku glanced over in surprise. He hadn't expected personal questions from his nemesis. I don't know, exactly, he admitted after a moment. I've had it since I was a child. Grandpa Gohan helped me learn to control it somewhat, and Master Roshi taught me more, but... He shrugged. I guess now we know it's probably connected to being a Saiyan. Piccolo studied him with unnerving intensity. It doesn't feel like the power your brother was using. His was raw, aggressive. Yours feels more primordial. Ancient. The observation was surprisingly insightful. You can sense that much detail in someone's energy. I was born to kill you, son Goku, Piccolo said matter-of-factly. I've spent years studying your energy signature, learning its patterns and fluctuations. And yes, yours is different. Special, somehow. Before Goku could respond, Piccolo stiffened. There. In that clearing ahead. I sense both the invader and your son. Goku focused his senses and felt them too, Gohan's small, frightened energy signature, and the overwhelming power that was Raditz. They descended quickly, stopping just above the tree line to assess the situation. Below, a vast crater marred the landscape, likely the landing site of Raditz's spacecraft. The ship itself was small and spherical, barely large enough for one person. Nearby, Raditz paced impatiently while Gohan sat trapped inside the ship, visible through its small round window. We need a plan, Piccolo said quietly. A frontal assault won't work. He's too strong. Goku nodded, uncharacteristically serious. You're right. I hit him with everything I had back on the island, and he barely noticed. He studied the scene below, mind racing. We need to catch him off guard. A distraction, Piccolo suggested. One of us draws his attention while the other attacks from behind. And we need to aim for vulnerable spots, Goku added. The back of the neck, joints, eyes. Piccolo raised an eyebrow, seeming almost impressed. You're not usually this tactical. This isn't usually about my son's life. Goku's expression hardened. You create the distraction. I'll circle around and wait for an opening. They separated, Piccolo flying directly toward the crater while Goku took a wide arc to approach from the opposite direction, suppressing his energy signature as Master Roshi had taught him. Raditz sensed Piccolo immediately. His scouter beeped, and he turned with an amused expression as the Namekian landed at the edge of the crater. A green man. This planet has more interesting inhabitants than I thought. Raditz tapped his scouter again. Power level 322. Impressive by Earth standards, but still pathetic compared to a Saiyan warrior. Piccolo removed his weighted cape and turban, letting them crash to the ground with enough force to crack the earth. Weighted clothing. How quaint. Raditz watched the scouter numbers rise. Power level 408 now. Still nothing to worry about. Where I come from, Piccolo said coolly, it's considered rude to judge an opponent before the battle begins. Raditz laughed. Where I come from, weaklings don't get the privilege of battle. They're simply exterminated. Inside the space pod, Gohan pressed his small hands against the window, eyes wide with fear and confusion. Mr. Piccolo, the boy called, voice muffled by the pod structure. Where's my dad? Quiet, half-breed, Raditz snapped. Then, to Piccolo, where is my brother? Hiding behind you, perhaps. That would be typical of a low-class warrior who's forgotten his heritage. I don't need Goku to handle the likes of you, Piccolo said, deliberately using the Earth name to irritate Raditz. The Saiyan's expression darkened. You dare mock me? He took a step forward, then stopped as his scouter beeped again. What's this? Another power approaching from, he spun just in time to see Goku launching from the tree line, fist drawn back and surrounded by crackling golden energy. Raditz! Goku roared, his attack connecting with the back of his brother's head. This time, the impact had effect. Raditz stumbled forward, genuinely caught off guard by both the sneak attack and the unexpected power behind it. Before he could recover, Piccolo was on him, driving a knee into his abdomen. For a brief moment, it seemed their strategy might work. Then Raditz's surprise gave way to rage. With a roar of his own, the Saiyan warrior unleashed a wave of energy that blasted both attackers backward. Goku crashed into a plateau, rock crumbling around him. Piccolo slammed into the ground, carving a furrow with his body. Clever, Raditz snarled, rubbing the spot where Goku's attack had landed. Working together, using your pathetic power levels in tandem. But it won't be enough. He raised one hand, energy gathering in his palm. Allow me to demonstrate the true power of a Saiyan warrior. Saturday crash. Raditz shouted, hurling a pulsing purple energy sphere toward Piccolo, who barely managed to roll aside. The blast hit the ground where he'd been, excavating an enormous crater in an instant. Goku pushed himself from the rubble, eyes fixed on his son's frightened face through the pod window. Gohan! Don't worry, we're going to get you out of there. Touching, Raditz sneered. Such concern for a half-breed whelp. You've truly forgotten what it means to be Saiyan. He tapped his scouter again, frowning slightly. Though the boy's power level keeps fluctuating in interesting ways. Anger seems to trigger spikes. Goku and Piccolo regrouped, standing side by side despite their long history of enmity. This isn't working, Piccolo muttered. We need something stronger. I have one technique that might work, Goku said quietly. But I'll need time to gather the energy. Piccolo nodded grimly. I have something as well. A new attack I've been developing to kill you, ironically enough. He flexed his fingers. It requires time to charge, and it will leave me with only one arm temporarily. One arm? Goku asked, startled. I need to channel my life energy. The arm is a necessary sacrifice. Goku stared at his rival with newfound respect. That's intense. So is having your planet destroyed by alien invaders. Piccolo's expression remained severe. I'll hold him off. You gather whatever energy you need. No more strategy sessions. Raditz called, striding toward them. Face your deaths with dignity, at least. Piccolo stepped forward, placing himself between Raditz and Goku. You talk too much, he said, and fired a massive energy blast directly at the Saiyan's face. Raditz batted it away casually, but the momentary distraction allowed Goku to leap back, putting distance between them. Landing on a high plateau, he raised his hands to the sky and began to focus. The sun, the air, the earth itself, lend me your energy, he murmured, feeling the familiar tingle as power began to flow into him from his surroundings. This technique, the spirit bomb, taught to him by King Kai during a brief visit to the other world after a near-death experience years ago, drew on the life energy of all living things. Below, Piccolo engaged Raditz in a flurry of attacks, each one faster and more desperate than the last. Despite his skill, the Namekian was clearly outmatched. Raditz toyed with him, blocking strikes with contemptuous ease while occasionally landing devastating counters that left Piccolo staggering. Is this really the best this planet has to offer? Raditz taunted, catching Piccolo's fist and squeezing until bones cracked. Pathetic. With his free hand, Piccolo managed to fire an energy blast directly into Raditz's face. The Saiyan released him with a snarl of pain, not seriously injured, but annoyed enough to actually focus on the fight. That was your last mistake, Green Man, Raditz growled, wiping a trickle of blood from a split lip. In the space pod, Gohan watched the battle with wide, terrified eyes. His small fists pounded against the window, tears streaming down his face as he saw Piccolo thrown to the ground again and again, each impact more violent than the last. Stop it, the boy cried. Stop hurting him. On the plateau, Goku felt the spirit bomb energy building between his raised palms, a swirling sphere of pure white light, growing larger by the second. But it wasn't enough yet. Not for someone as powerful as Raditz. Just a little more time, he whispered, watching helplessly as Piccolo absorbed punishment meant to buy him that time. Raditz grabbed Piccolo by the throat, lifting him off the ground. I'm getting bored with you, he said, charging energy in his free hand. Time to end this little warm-up and deal with my disappointment of a brother. Not yet. Piccolo choked out, his own energy visibly gathering at the fingertips of his right hand, which had begun to glow with an eerie purple light. What's this? Raditz's scouter beeped urgently. Your power level is rising. How? Special. Beam. Cannon. Piccolo gasped, thrusting his glowing fingers toward Raditz's chest. The Saiyan warrior's eyes widened. At the last possible instant, he twisted aside, not fast enough to avoid the attack entirely, but enough that the drilling beam of energy merely tore through his shoulder armor instead of his heart. Raditz howled in genuine pain, dropping Piccolo and clutching his wounded shoulder. You actually hurt me. How dare you? Before Piccolo could recover or respond, Raditz's boot connected with his chest, sending him flying into a distant plateau that collapsed on impact. Piccolo! Goku shouted. The spirit bomb was nearly ready, but Piccolo had fallen, and Raditz was now turning toward him, eyes blazing with fury. There you are, brother, the Saiyan snarled. Hiding up there while your green friend does the fighting? Is that the warrior father raised? You don't know anything about me, Goku said, the swirling energy between his hands now the size of a beach ball, blindingly bright. I know you're a disgrace to the Saiyan race, Raditz spat. I know our father, Bardock, would be ashamed to see what his son has become. The name, Bardock, triggered something in Goku's memory. A stern face, not unlike Raditz but older, more weathered. A hand pressed against glass. Words he couldn't quite remember. His concentration wavered, the spirit bomb fluctuating. "That's it, isn't it?" Raditz said, a cruel smile spreading across his face as he noticed Goku's reaction. "You remember something. The mighty Bardock, one of our finest warriors, father to a coward who hides while others fight his battles." "Shut up," Goku growled, struggling to maintain focus on the gathering energy. "Or perhaps you take after your mother. Jin was always too soft-hearted for a Saiyan. Perhaps that's where your weakness comes from." Another name, another flicker of memory, a gentler face, kind eyes that seemed out of place in Raditz's cruel narrative. The spirit bomb wavered again, and Raditz laughed. "Whatever you're preparing up there, you clearly can't maintain it while distracted. Let me provide a better distraction." The Saiyan warrior turned suddenly toward the space pod where Gohan still watched in horror. "Let's see how your half-breed son handles a taste of Saiyan power, shall we?" "No!" Goku shouted as Raditz raised his hand toward the pod. Inside, Gohan's fear abruptly transformed into something else. His small face contorted with rage, eyes flashing teal for the briefest moment. The air around him seemed to shimmer with an energy that made Raditz's scouter shriek in alarm. "What the?" The Saiyan warrior stared at the rapidly rising numbers. 1,000. 2,000. That's impossible for a child. The space pod rocked, then cracked as Gohan's power surged beyond anything his young body had ever channeled before. With a final shout of pure, instinctive rage, the boy exploded from the pod, surrounded by a golden aura almost identical to the one Goku sometimes manifested. "Leave my dad alone!" Gohan screamed, launching himself headfirst into Raditz's chest with enough force to crack the Saiyan's armor and send him flying backward. "Gohan!" Goku gasped, nearly losing control of the spirit bomb in his shock. The boy landed in a crouch, the golden aura fading immediately as his rage subsided. He looked as surprised as everyone else, blinking in confusion at what he'd just done. What happened?" Gohan murmured, swaying on his feet. Raditz pushed himself up, clutching his chest where Gohan had struck him. For the first time, genuine fear flickered across the Saiyan warrior's face. "Impossible," he breathed. The power reading, it was over 3,000 for a moment. From a child. His gaze shifted from Gohan to Goku, who still held the completed spirit bomb above the plateau. Understanding dawned in Raditz's eyes. "It can't be," he whispered. The golden aura, the power spikes triggered by emotion. "Kakarot, are you?" Whatever revelation Raditz had reached was interrupted as Piccolo, battered but conscious, fired another energy blast from where he lay half buried in rubble. The attack struck Raditz from behind, staggering him forward, directly into Gohan's path. "Gohan, run!" Goku shouted, seeing his opening. "Get away from him now!" The boy, exhausted from his momentary power surge, stumbled backward as Raditz regained his balance. "You little half-breed monster," Raditz snarled, reaching for Gohan. "I'll teach you to, Raditz!" Goku roared. "Looking for me?" The Saiyan warrior turned just in time to see Goku hurl the spirit bomb directly at him. The swirling sphere of gathered energy streaked downward, its pure light reflecting in Raditz's widening eyes. "No!" Raditz tried to dodge, but Piccolo, with his last strength, fired an energy blast that clipped the Saiyan's leg, disrupting his movement. The spirit bomb struck Raditz square in the chest, enveloping him in blinding white light. His scream echoed across the battlefield as the energy tore through his armor, burning into his flesh. For a moment, his silhouette was visible within the light, back arched in agony. Then the light expanded outward in a final explosion that shook the earth, leaving a smoking crater where Raditz had stood. Silence fell over the battlefield. Goku jumped down from the plateau, legs nearly buckling from the energy expenditure of the spirit bomb. He staggered toward Gohan, who stood at the crater's edge, staring in shock at what remained of his kidnapper. Gohan, Goku said softly, kneeling beside his son. Are you hurt? The boy turned, tears filling his eyes, and threw himself into his father's arms. Dad! I was so scared. And then I got really angry, and something happened, and shoo, it's okay, Goku soothed, holding his son tight. You were very brave. Everything's going to be fine now. A weak laugh from the crater made them both freeze. Nothing is going to be fine. Kakarot. Impossibly, Raditz was still alive. His armor had been shattered, his body burned and broken, but the Saiyan warrior pushed himself up on one elbow, blood streaming from his mouth as he fixed his gaze on Goku. My scouter has been transmitting everything. He coughed, blood spattering the ground. Vegeta and Nappa, they heard it all. They know about you now. About the boy. Goku placed Gohan behind him protectively. Who are Vegeta and Nappa? The other, surviving Saiyans, Raditz managed, each word clearly agony. Elite warriors. Prince Vegeta is the strongest of our race. Another cough racked his body. And now, they're coming for you. Piccolo had managed to drag himself closer, one arm hanging uselessly at his side. You're bluffing, he growled. Trying to scare us with your dying breath. Raditz laughed weakly. They'll be here, in 1 year. Plenty of time, for you to contemplate your deaths. His gaze shifted to Goku, something almost like pride mingling with the pain in his eyes. Brother. I never imagined, you might be the one. The one what? Goku demanded. The legendary. Super. Saiyan. Raditz's voice faded to a whisper. Father suspected, sent you away to save you. His head fell back, eyes fixed on the sky. Too late now. Vegeta will want to see for himself. Test you. Kill you, probably. A final, rattling breath escaped him. Unless, you embrace, what you truly are. With those words, Raditz, Goku's brother, his only connection to a past he couldn't remember, died. Goku stared at the body, mind reeling from everything that had happened. Saiyans. Aliens. A destroyed homeworld. More invaders coming, stronger than Raditz. And now, this mysterious reference to a legendary Super Saiyan. Dad? Gohan tugged at his torn GI. What did the bad man mean? What's a Saiyan? Before Goku could formulate an answer, Piccolo spoke. It means, the Namekian said grimly, that we have 1 year to prepare for an attack that will make today look like a warm-up exercise. Goku nodded slowly. If what he said is true, these other Saiyans, Vegeta and Nappa, they're even stronger than Raditz. And they heard everything through that device on his face, Piccolo added. They know about your son's power outburst. About whatever this legendary Super Saiyan business is. Goku looked down at Gohan, who stared back with wide, innocent eyes that had moments ago flashed with teal fire. The same golden aura that sometimes surrounded Goku had briefly enveloped his son, proof that whatever Goku was, whatever power he carried, it had been passed to the next generation. We need to train, Goku said finally. All of us. Krillin, Yamcha, everyone who can fight. Piccolo nodded, then, unexpectedly, held out his hand. The boy should train too. Goku's protective instinct flared. Gohan. He's only 4. You saw what he did to Raditz. There's power in him, raw, untapped, but immense. We can't afford to ignore any potential weapon against these invaders. He's not a weapon, he's my son. Piccolo's expression remained impassive. He's both. And his life, all our lives, depend on being ready when these Saiyans arrive. He looked down at Gohan. The boy has potential beyond anything I've seen. Let me train him. You. Goku couldn't hide his disbelief. You've been trying to kill me for years, and now you want to train my son. Our temporary alliance just got extended by necessity, Piccolo said dryly. Besides, the boy needs to learn to harness that power outburst. Who better than someone who's had to master his own destructive nature? There was uncomfortable logic in Piccolo's argument. Goku looked down at Gohan again, seeing not just his son but the brief flash of incredible power the boy had exhibited. If more Saiyans were coming, stronger ones, they would need every advantage. I don't know, Goku said hesitantly. Chi-Chi would never allow it. Chi-Chi isn't here, Piccolo pointed out. And we don't have time for family discussions. Hard choices must be made now. A groan from nearby interrupted them. Amazingly, Raditz' body was moving again, not alive, but twitching as something emerged from his chest cavity. A small, metallic orb pushed its way out of the dead Saiyan, hovering momentarily before shooting up into the sky with incredible speed. What was that? Gohan gasped. Nothing good, Piccolo growled. Some kind of probe, perhaps. Sending final data back to these other Saiyans. Goku watched the tiny speck disappear into the clouds, a cold certainty settling over him. The coming year would change everything. The peaceful life he'd built with Chi-Chi and Gohan was about to be shattered, and it was his heritage, his unknown past, that had brought this danger to Earth. We need to get back to the others, he said finally. Tell them what's happened, what's coming. And the boy? Piccolo pressed. Goku looked at Gohan once more, seeing the confusion and fear in his son's eyes, but also the determination that reminded him so much of Chi-Chi. I'll train him, Goku decided. Me and Master Roshi and the others. Not you. Piccolo's eyes narrowed, but he nodded curtly. As you wish. But don't coddle him. That power needs to be harnessed, not suppressed. The irony of Piccolo's words wasn't lost on Goku. For years, he'd struggled with suppressing the volatile energy within himself, fearing its destructive potential. Now, facing enemies that threatened everything he loved, he would need to embrace that power fully, and help his son do the same. We should bury him, Goku said suddenly, glancing at Raditz's body. Whatever he did, he was still my brother. Piccolo scoffed. Sentiment will get you killed, son Goku. Maybe. But it's also what we're fighting to protect. Without waiting for a response, Goku began gathering rocks to cover Raditz's broken form. After a moment's hesitation, Gohan joined him, his small hands placing stones with solemn care. Piccolo watched silently, his expression unreadable. When they finished, Goku placed a hand on the crude grave. I don't remember you, he said quietly. I don't remember any of it, our planet, our parents. But I'm sorry it ended this way. Gohan slipped his hand into Goku's. He was really my uncle. I guess he was, Goku acknowledged. And there's a lot I need to tell you about where I might have come from. But first, we need to get home to your mother. The thought of explaining everything to Chi-Chi, not just Gohan's kidnapping, but Goku's alien heritage and the impending invasion, made even the mighty Goku wince. She's going to be really mad, isn't she? Gohan asked perceptively. Goku couldn't help but laugh, despite everything. That might be the understatement of the year, son. The scene at Kame House was chaotic when they returned. Bulma had already set up monitoring equipment, tracking the alien probe's trajectory. Krillin and Yamcha were in heated discussion about training regimens. Master Roshi sat quietly on his porch, seemingly meditating but clearly listening to everything. Chi-Chi was conspicuously absent, which meant Krillin hadn't worked up the courage to tell her yet. Goku! Bulma cried, spotting them first as Nimbus descended toward the island. Gohan! You're okay. Everyone rushed forward, exclaiming in relief at seeing them alive and relatively unharmed. The celebrations halted abruptly when they noticed Piccolo hovering nearby. Why is he here? Yamcha demanded, dropping into a fighting stance. Stand down, Goku said wearily. Piccolo helped us defeat Raditz. Without him, we wouldn't have survived. Defeat? Then you did it? Krillin's face lit up. The alien threat is over. Goku shook his head grimly. It's only beginning. 2 more Saiyans are coming, even stronger ones. They'll be here in a year. Stunned silence followed this announcement, broken only by the soft beeping of Bulma's equipment. So that's what that probe was transmitting, she said quietly. Data about the battle. You detected it? Piccolo asked, sounding genuinely surprised. Bulma nodded. It passed through our atmosphere about 20 minutes ago. I managed to intercept some of the data stream, but it's in a language I can't decipher. She glanced at Goku. Your people's language, apparently. They're not my people, Goku said firmly. Earth is my home. Gohan tugged at his father's hand. Dad, I'm hungry. The simple statement broke the tension, drawing smiles despite the gravity of the situation. Some things never changed, Saiyan appetites among them. Let's get you something to eat, Bulma said, leading Gohan toward the house. And you can tell me all about how brave you were. As they moved inside, Goku pulled Krillin aside. Chi-Chi. You didn't tell her yet? Krillin looked sheepish. I thought it would be better coming from you. Especially now that you have Gohan back safe and sound. Coward, Goku said, but without heat. Can't say I blame you. What are you going to tell her? About all of this? Krillin waved a hand vaguely, encompassing science, invasions, and the revelation of Goku's alien heritage. Goku sighed. The truth. She deserves that much. And then I need to start training. Harder than ever before. We all do, Yamcha said, joining them. If these new Saiyans are as strong as you say, we'll need everyone at their absolute best. Master Roshi approached slowly, his expression unusually serious. This isn't just about physical training, Goku. You need to understand what Raditz meant about the legendary Super Saiyan. Goku's eyes widened. You know about that? Not specifically, no. But every warrior culture has legends of extraordinary power. If this is connected to the golden energy you sometimes manifest. The old master stroked his beard thoughtfully. You may need to seek answers beyond what any of us can provide. What do you mean? I mean, Rashi said carefully, that there might be someone who knows more about other worlds and other races than I do. He glanced skyward. Someone who watches over Earth from above. Kami, Goku breathed, understanding immediately. Earth's guardian, the being who had created the Dragon Balls, and, not coincidentally, the other half of Piccolo's split existence. Yes. If anyone might have insight into your true nature, it would be him. Goku nodded slowly. Then I'll go to him, after I've taken Gohan home and explained everything to Chi-Chi. Piccolo, who had been listening silently, spoke up. I'll begin my own preparations. When the Saiyans arrive, I'll fight alongside you, for my own reasons, not yours. Fair enough, Goku acknowledged. As Piccolo rose into the air to depart, Goku called after him, Piccolo. Thank you. For helping save my son. The Namekian paused, clearly uncomfortable with gratitude. Don't mistake temporary necessity for friendship, son Goku. When this is over, we return to being enemies. With that, he shot away across the ocean, his white cape billowing behind him. Well, he's just a ray of sunshine, isn't he? Yamcha muttered. Goku smiled faintly. He's not so bad. Saved my life today. His expression grew serious again. We all need to be ready. These Saiyans, Vegeta and Nappa, they're coming for me specifically now. But they won't hesitate to destroy Earth. Then we'll stop them, Krillin said with more confidence than he probably felt. Together. Inside came house, they found Gohan happily devouring a mountain of food while recounting his adventure to an enthralled Bulma. The boy's enthusiasm made it sound almost exciting rather than terrifying, the perspective of a child who didn't fully understand the danger he'd been in. And then I got really, really mad, Gohan was saying, and I felt all hot inside, like when you have a fever but not sick, and then I don't know, I broke out of the spaceship and hit the bad man really hard. Goku leaned against the doorframe, watching his son with a mixture of pride and concern. The boy had Saiyan blood, that much was undeniable now, and with it, the potential for both the destructive rage Goku had spent years learning to control and the incredible power that came with it. He's special, isn't he? Master Roshi said quietly, joining Goku. Even beyond normal Saiyan abilities, if what Raditz implied is true. Goku nodded. I felt it when he was born. Something familiar in his key signature. I hoped it was just my imagination. You feared he'd inherited your burden. I did. But now. Goku sighed. Now I'm almost glad. He'll need that power if these other Saiyans are as strong as Raditz claimed. Master Roshi studied him shrewdly. And what about you? Are you ready to fully embrace whatever this power is inside you? This legendary Super Saiyan business? Do I have a choice? There are always choices, my boy. The question is what they cost. Goku thought of Chi-Chi, of Gohan, of all his friends and the planet he'd come to call home. The cost of suppressing his power, of continuing to hold back out of fear, could be everything and everyone he loved. Then I choose to face it, he said quietly. Whatever I am, whatever this power is, I need to master it completely. Not just control it enough to get by. Master Roshi nodded approvingly. That's my student. Always rising to the challenge. Gohan looked up then, sensing his father's presence. Dad. Miss Bulma says she might be able to build a spaceship like the one the bad man came in. Could we go to space someday? The innocent question carried unintended weight, considering what they now knew. Space was where Goku had come from as an infant, where his forgotten heritage lay scattered among the stars, and where new threats now traveled toward Earth. Maybe someday, son, Goku said with a smile he didn't quite feel. Right now, we need to get you home to your mother. Gohan's face fell. Is Mom going to be mad? Oh, tremendously, Goku confirmed, ruffling the boy's hair. But mostly at me, not you. If you want, Krillin offered, I could still be the one to tell her. You know, ease her into it. Goku laughed. Nice try. But this is one fight I can't let anyone take for me. Spoken like a true husband, Master Roshi chuckled. Braver than facing any Saiyan, facing your wife after something like this. After saying their goodbyes and promising to reunite soon to begin coordinated training, Goku and Gohan departed on Nimbus. As they soared above the clouds, Gohan nestled against his father's chest, exhausted from the day's ordeal. Dad, he murmured sleepily. Are we really aliens? Goku looked down at his son's innocent face, so human, so much like Chi-Chi's, yet carrying whatever legacy flowed through Goku's own veins. I might be, he said gently. Or at least, I came from somewhere else originally. But you, Gohan, you're both. Earth and stars together. Is that why I get so strong when I'm angry? Like today? Goku hesitated. How to explain something he himself didn't fully understand. Something like that, he said finally. It's a special kind of energy that comes from deep inside. I have it too. It's powerful, but it can be hard to control. Gohan yawned. Will you teach me? To control it like you do? The question sparked both pride and fear in Goku's heart. Pride that his son wanted to learn from him, fear of what embracing that power might mean for the boy's future. Yes, he decided. I'll teach you everything I know. And together, we'll learn even more. Satisfied with this answer, Gohan drifted off to sleep, the gentle rocking of Nimbus and the security of his father's arms creating a bubble of safety that belied the dangers ahead. Goku gazed at the horizon, where their home waited, along with explanations, decisions, and preparations for a battle unlike any Earth had faced before. His thoughts drifted to Raditz' final words, "Embrace what you truly are." What was he, truly? A Saiyan by birth, yes, but shaped by Earth and the love of those who had raised him. The power within him, this legendary status Raditz had mentioned, was it destiny or merely potential? A burden or a gift? Perhaps Kami would have answers. Perhaps not. But one thing Goku knew with absolute certainty: whatever power lay dormant within him, he would use it to protect his home, not destroy it. In that choice, if nothing else, he would defy whatever destructive heritage the Saiyan blood might carry. The house was silent when they arrived, ominously so. Chi-Chi normally had dinner preparations well underway by this hour, the clatter of pots and pans a homey soundtrack to their lives. "Mom." Gohan called as they entered. "We're home." Chi-Chi appeared in the kitchen doorway, her face pale and drawn. The moment she saw Gohan, she rushed forward, gathering him into a fierce embrace. "Where have you been?" she demanded, voice cracking. "Krillin called hours ago, talking nonsense about aliens and kidnapping, and," she broke off, looking up at Goku with a mixture of relief and fury. "What happened?" "The truth, Goku. All of it." And so, sitting at their kitchen table with Gohan dozing against his shoulder, Goku told her everything, about Raditz's arrival, the revelation of his Saiyan heritage, Gohan's kidnapping and unexpected power manifestation, the defeat of Raditz, and the impending arrival of two even stronger Saiyans. Chi-Chi listened without interruption, her expression shifting between disbelief, horror, and occasional flashes of fierce protective instinct, especially when Goku described Gohan's bravery. "So," she said when he finally finished, "my husband is an alien warrior from a destroyed planet, my son has inherited some kind of legendary power that emerges when he's angry, and in 1 year, 2 more aliens will arrive who want to kill you both and possibly destroy Earth." Put like that, it sounded absurd. Goku could only nod. Chi-Chi was quiet for a long moment, then asked the question he'd been dreading. "What happens now?" "I need to train," Goku said simply. "Harder than ever before." And he hesitated, knowing the next part would be the hardest for her to accept. "Gohan needs to train too." "No." The word was immediate, firm. "Absolutely not. He's 4 years old, Goku." "I know. But you didn't see what I saw today. When Gohan gets angry, when he's pushed to his limit, he has power, Chi-Chi, more than mine at his age. Maybe more than mine now. I don't care if he can move mountains." Chi-Chi's voice rose, then quickly lowered again when Gohan stirred. "He is a child, not a warrior. Not a Saiyan soldier or whatever these people were. He's my son," Goku said gently. "Which means he's both human and Saiyan. And right now, that Saiyan heritage, the power that comes with it, might be the only thing that saves him when these invaders arrive." Tears filled Chi-Chi's eyes. "You promised me, Goku. You promised when he was born that you wouldn't push him to be a fighter like you." "I'm not pushing him. I'm trying to protect him. There's a power in him that he doesn't understand and can't control. If he doesn't learn to master it, it could be dangerous, for him and for others." The words echoed his own childhood struggles with the volatile energy inside him, struggles that had once led to tragedy with Grandpa Gohan. He couldn't bear the thought of history repeating itself with his son. Chi-Chi must have seen something of this in his expression, because her anger softened slightly. "This power," she said quietly. "It's the same one you've always been careful about using around the house. The one that makes your hair stand up and creates that golden light?" Goku nodded, surprised she'd noticed so much. "Yes. I've never fully understood where it came from or why I have it. But now, with what Raditz said about the legendary Super Saiyan. And Gohan has it too. It wasn't a question. He does. Today proved that. But unlike me, he has a chance to understand it from the beginning, to learn control before Goku trailed off. Before what? Chi-Chi pressed. Before he hurt someone without meaning to, Goku finished quietly. The way I did with Grandpa Gohan. Understanding dawned in Chi-Chi's eyes. Goku had told her, early in their marriage, about his suspicions regarding his grandfather's death, the transformation under the full moon, the blackouts, the devastating power he couldn't control as a child. You think Gohan could go through the same thing? I think he needs guidance that only I can give him, Goku said. Not to make him a warrior, but to help him understand and control what's already inside him. Chi-Chi was silent for a long time, gently stroking Gohan's hair as he slept against Goku's shoulder. Finally, she sighed. 3 days a week, she said firmly. 3 days for training. The rest, he continues his studies. And no dangerous techniques until he's older. It was more than Goku had dared hope for. Agreed. And you, she continued, fixing him with a stern look, you come home every night. I don't care what kind of training you're doing or with whom. Our family stays together, especially now. Goku nodded, reaching across the table to take her hand. I wouldn't have it any other way. Some of the tension left Chi-Chi's shoulders. So. You're an alien. Goku smiled wryly. Apparently. Well, that explains a few things. The appetite, for one. Despite everything, they both laughed softly, careful not to wake Gohan. Are you disappointed? Goku asked after a moment, voicing a fear he hadn't acknowledged even to himself. That I'm not, fully human. Chi-Chi's expression softened. Goku, I fell in love with you, not your species. Though I admit, it will take some getting used to. She squeezed his hand. Just promise me one thing. Anything. No more surprise relatives showing up to kidnap our son. Goku smiled, though his heart ached at the memory of Raditz' final moments. Whatever his brother had been, whatever crimes he'd committed, they had shared blood. In another life, under different circumstances, perhaps they could have been family in more than just name. I promise, he said. Though I can't speak for any other Saiyans who might be out there. Well, if they're coming to our planet, they'd better behave themselves, Chi-Chi said with the fierce determination that had first attracted Goku to her. Or they'll have me to deal with. Goku had no doubt she meant it. Chi-Chi might not have Saiyan strength, but her spirit was a match for any warrior race in the universe. As they prepared for bed that night, Gohan tucked safely between them in a rare departure from their usual routine. Goku found himself staring at the ceiling, mind racing with everything that had happened and everything still to come. Tomorrow, he would need to begin preparations, contacting his friends to coordinate training, visiting Kami to seek answers about the legendary Super Saiyan, developing a strategy for the coming battle. But tonight, here in the quiet darkness with his family, he allowed himself a moment of peace. Whatever challenges awaited, whatever truths about himself remained to be discovered, he would face them with the same determination that had carried him through every previous obstacle. Not just as a Saiyan, not just as a human, but as Goku, protector of Earth, husband to Chi-Chi, father to Gohan, and master of his own destiny. The next morning arrived with renewed purpose. After breakfast, Goku explained to Gohan in simple terms that they would begin special training to help him understand and control the power he had shown against Raditz. Like when I broke the spaceship? Gohan asked, eyes wide with curiosity rather than fear. Exactly, Goku confirmed. That was a special kind of energy that you and I both have. But it's important to learn how to use it properly. Will I get to be as strong as you, Dad? Goku smiled, ruffling his son's hair. Maybe even stronger, someday. Chi-Chi, overhearing this exchange, gave Goku a warning look but said nothing. Their agreement stood, 3 days a week for training, the rest for studies. Today would be a study day, giving Goku time to visit Kami's lookout. I'll be back by dinner, he promised Chi-Chi, kissing her goodbye at the door. You'd better be, she replied, her stern tone belied by the concern in her eyes. And Goku? Be careful. Whatever answers you find up there, they might not be easy to hear. Her perceptiveness never ceased to amaze him. I know. But I need to understand what I am if I'm going to protect our family. With a final wave to Gohan, who was already setting up his books at the kitchen table under Chi-Chi's supervision, Goku called for Nimbus and set off toward Korin Tower, the ancient structure that connected Earth to Kami's lookout high above. The journey gave him time to process everything that had happened. In the span of a single day, his understanding of himself had been completely upended. He wasn't simply an unusually strong human with mysterious powers. He was a Saiyan, an alien warrior from a destroyed planet, carrying a power that even other Saiyans seemed to regard with awe and fear. Yet the revelation didn't feel entirely foreign. Some part of him had always known he was different, had sensed the otherworldly nature of the energy that flowed through him during moments of extreme emotion. What Raditz had called the legendary Super Saiyan power. As Korin Tower came into view, stretching impossibly high into the sky, Goku directed Nimbus upward, bypassing the middle section where Master Korin resided. Today, his questions needed the wisdom of Earth's guardian himself. The lookout materialized above the clouds, a floating sanctuary of white marble and ancient trees. As Nimbus approached, Goku sensed two familiar presences waiting for him, Kami, Earth's elderly guardian, and his attendant, Mr. Popo. They're expecting me, Goku murmured to himself. Of course they are. He jumped from Nimbus onto the polished tiles of the lookout, bowing respectfully to the green-skinned elder who so resembled Piccolo yet radiated an entirely different energy, calm, benevolent, ancient. Son Goku, Kami greeted him, leaning on his wooden staff. I've been expecting you. You know what happened yesterday, Goku said. It wasn't a question. Kami nodded solemnly. I observed your battle with the Saiyan Raditz. A most disturbing development. Then you know why I'm here. You seek answers about your heritage. About the power Raditz recognized in you. Kami gestured toward the palace at the center of the lookout. Come. We have much to discuss. Inside, seated before a small table where Mr. Popo served tea, Goku found himself uncharacteristically hesitant. The questions that had burned in his mind during the journey now seemed almost dangerous to voice. Ask, son Goku, Kami encouraged gently. That is why you came. Goku took a deep breath. Raditz called me the legendary Super Saiyan. What does that mean? What am I? Kami sighed, his ancient eyes reflecting centuries of knowledge and concern. The legendary Super Saiyan is a figure of myth among many warrior cultures across the universe. A being of immense power, appearing once every 1,000 years, capable of unimaginable destruction, or salvation, depending on the version of the legend. And you think I'm this legendary figure? I have suspected something unusual about your ki since you were a child, Kami admitted. It has a quality unlike any I have encountered in my long life, primal, vast, almost, divine in its potential. Goku frowned. Divine? I'm just a fighter. You are far more than that, whether you recognize it or not. Kami sipped his tea thoughtfully. The Saiyans were a warrior race with natural affinity for battle and remarkable adaptive abilities. Their power could increase dramatically after recovery from near-death experiences, and they could transform under the light of a full moon into giant, ape-like creatures of tremendous strength. The great ape form, Goku murmured. I've experienced that. It's how I. He trailed off, the memory of Grandpa Gohan's death still painful after all these years. Kami nodded sympathetically. Yes. All Saiyans possess this ability, provided they still have their tails. But the legendary Super Saiyan transformation is something else entirely, a state of being that transcends even Saiyan limitations. The golden light. The power that comes when I'm pushed to my limit. A glimpse of it, perhaps. From what ancient texts suggest, the full transformation would be far more dramatic, a complete physical change, power multiplied many times over. Goku absorbed this information slowly. And this happens once every 1,000 years. So the legends claim. Though it's worth noting that legends often exaggerate time frames for dramatic effect. Cammy's expression grew more serious. What concerns me more is why the Saiyan leadership feared this power enough to apparently send you away as an infant. Raditz said something about our father suspecting what I was and sending me away to save me, Goku recalled. But that doesn't make sense. Why would being powerful put me in danger from my own people? Because power that cannot be controlled is feared, Mr. Popo interjected quietly. And from what the legends say, the legendary Super Saiyan is as much a danger to their own kind as to their enemies. A cold feeling settled in Goku's stomach. You're saying I might be dangerous? To Earth? To my family? I'm saying, Cammy clarified, that any great power carries responsibility. The legends speak of legendary Super Saiyans who destroyed planets in fits of uncontrolled rage. But legends are not destiny, son Goku. You have already proven that by the life you've led here on Earth. But the power is real, Goku insisted. I felt it. Glimpsed it. And now Gohan has it too. Cammy nodded gravely. Yes. Your son appears to have inherited the potential. All the more reason you must learn to fully master it yourself, to show him the way. How? I've spent years learning to control it, but I've never fully embraced it either. Always held something back, afraid of what might happen if I let go completely. A wise precaution, until now. Cammy set down his cup. But circumstances have changed. These Saiyans coming to Earth, Vegeta and Nappa, they will not hold back. And from what my cosmic awareness tells me, they are indeed formidable warriors, especially the prince. So I need to stop holding back, Goku concluded. I need to find a way to access this legendary transformation, master it completely. It will not be easy, Cammy warned. The transformation is triggered by extreme emotional distress combined with physical necessity, a survival response to overwhelming threat. To master it requires not just physical training but spiritual discipline unlike anything you've undertaken before. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, Goku said firmly. For Earth. For my family. Cammy studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Very well. I will help you prepare, but the journey must ultimately be your own. He rose from his seat. Come. There is a place here on the lookout where time moves differently, a hyperbolic chamber where a day outside is a year within. You cannot stay long without aging, but even a few hours might provide valuable training time. Goku followed Cammy through the palace to a simple door that seemed unremarkable until opened. Beyond it stretched an endless white void, featureless except for a small living area near the entrance. The hyperbolic time chamber, Cammy explained. Within, you can push your limits without endangering others. The gravity increases the further you venture from the entrance, and the environment can shift dramatically without warning. Perfect, Goku said, a familiar excitement building at the prospect of such training. Before you enter, Cammy cautioned, understand this, the legendary transformation you seek is not merely physical. It requires a perfect union of body, mind, and spirit, a harmonization of your human compassion and Saiyan power. Without that balance, the transformation could consume you. Goku nodded solemnly. I understand. I don't want power for its own sake. Only to protect what I love. That motivation will be your anchor, Cammy said approvingly. Now go. Even a few hours in our time will give you weeks of training inside. As Goku stepped into the white void, Cammy called after him, and son Goku? Remember who you are. Not just Saiyan, not just human, but the sum of all your choices and connections. That identity, not raw power, will be your true strength against what comes. The door closed behind him, and Goku found himself alone in the vast emptiness of the chamber. The air felt thick, gravity already noticeably stronger than Earth normal. Temperature fluctuated unpredictably, one moment scorching, the next freezing. Perfect conditions to push his limits. Goku began with meditation, centering himself as Grandpa Gohan had taught him long ago. He focused inward, seeking the core of energy that had manifested as golden light in moments of extreme emotion. Not fighting it, not containing it, but simply acknowledging its presence. There it was, a vast well of power that seemed to have no bottom, primal and ancient. It responded to his attention, stirring like a slumbering beast. "I'm not afraid of you anymore," Goku whispered to the energy within. "We're going to work together now." For hours, days in the chamber's time, he alternated between physical training and meditation, pushing his body to its limits while simultaneously exploring the depths of the power inside him. With each session, he allowed the golden energy to flow more freely, channeling it rather than suppressing it. The transformation remained elusive, that mythical state Kami had described where the golden aura would envelop him completely, changing him physically. But Goku could feel himself getting closer, breaking through barriers within himself that had stood since childhood. On what felt like the 20th day of training, mere hours in the outside world, Goku pushed himself beyond previous limits. He fired ki blasts until his hands burned, performed kata until his muscles screamed, meditated until his mind touched states of consciousness he'd never experienced before. Then, exhausted beyond measure, he created a mental image of what was at stake: Chi-Chi's determined face, Gohan's innocent smile, his friend standing beside him, Earth itself with all its beauty and life. Against this, he placed the threat: Saiyan invaders, destruction, death. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The energy inside him surged upward like a tidal wave, golden light erupting from every pore. His hair rose, muscles expanded, power crackled around him in visible arcs of electricity. For a brief, glorious moment, Goku thought he had done it, achieved the legendary transformation. Then the energy wavered, fluctuating wildly as his body struggled to contain it. Pain lanced through every cell as the power threatened to tear him apart from within. "Not enough," he gasped, falling to his knees as the golden aura faded. Still not enough. But it was progress. More than he'd ever achieved before. The wall between his normal state and the legendary transformation had thinned, revealing glimpses of what lay beyond. After recovering, Goku continued his training with renewed determination. Each attempt brought him closer to the threshold, though the full transformation remained just beyond reach. It was as if his body needed something more, some final trigger or catalyst that training alone couldn't provide. When he emerged from the hyperbolic time chamber hours later, weeks in chamber time, Kami was waiting for him. "You've made progress," the Guardian observed, noting the changes in Goku's energy signature. "Not enough," Goku said, echoing his earlier frustration. "I can touch the power but not fully transform. Something's missing." "Perhaps the final trigger is not something that can be found in training," Kami suggested. "The legends speak of transformation born from necessity and extreme emotion. In artificial conditions, even ones as harsh as the time chamber, that authenticity may be lacking." Goku nodded slowly. "So something went wrong with this response, please try again. Write the next chapter of the book." The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.